Pets Add Life, your guide to the latest in pet trends, products, and the joy of the human-animal bond, with Kristen Levine and Chris Bonifati, powered by the American Pet Products Association and Dog TV.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Pets Add Life. I am Chris Bonifati, joined as always by my knight in shining armor and a day worth remembering, Kristen Levine.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Happy early Valentine's Day.
Happy early Valentine's Day, folks. If you are like me and have not secured your partner's gift, do it now. Get those orders into the florist. Yeah.
I've secured Tulip's gift. It's on the way, but I have not secured Paul's gift. So that's my next, after we're done with the show, I'll do that.
Yes, we're all heading to the florist. We're all heading to the chocolatier. Do we still call them chocolatiers?
We do,
but
I don't, yeah.
The simpler times.
The grocery store.
Before the grocery store, when there were chocolatiers wandering your town, hawking their wares on the street corners. The good old days.
I want to go back to the days of the chocolatier.
Yeah, I want to go. That's the tagline. I want to go back to the days of the chocolatier. Well, we have a love-filled episode. I mean, our episodes are always love-filled, but this one in particular, where we're going to have two stories, two guests, two products. We're going to answer two of your questions, and maybe everybody can share two gift ideas for Valentine's Day. For those of
that would be helpful.
For those of us stuck, that would be much appreciated. So hop in those comments. Tell us what you're getting your pet for Valentine's Day, or your partner, or both. Maybe you're getting matching pajamas for the whole family, because I think that's what we're in for this year. Some little hearts and flowers and stuff like that on the pajamas, all decked out in red. Because what's an American holiday without matching PJs, huh?
Kristen and Chris present Storytime.
All right, Kristen. A Valentine's Day themed story time. Mine's not necessarily Valentine's Day themed, but I'm hoping to spread some good vibes. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to kick it off?
Yeah, I'll go first. Mine is indeed Valentine's Day themed.
It's because you're so prepared.
I'll start it off with a little trivia question for you. What percentage of pet parents in the U.S. do you think buy gifts for their pets for Valentine's Day?
62%.
Ooh, that's close, but it's actually 70% according to a recent survey. And get this, the total spending is expected to top $3.7 billion. That's just for pet Valentine's Day.
I could use a slice of that.
That is crazy. And then a little breakdown about who is buying gifts for their pets. Millennials, as you might imagine, are leading the love fest. 78% of millennials say that they're buying gifts for their pets, and they're also the most likely to post those adorable pup and present moments on social media. Urban pet parents, especially the ones that live alone, they tend to treat their pets as their closest companions, so they spend more money, 23% more than rural pet parents spend on average. And high-income households earning over $75K, they go all out with custom collars, gourmet treats, even pet spa days. And that's simply because they can afford to, and they love making pets part of their lifestyle. So, that's a lot of bones and treats and plushies. 3.7
sure
billion.
Is. Don't get the dog chocolate.
No.
Don't do it.
No.
Don't do that. I'm sure everybody knows that, but it's always nice to reward the furry love of your life with a little special something.
And if you do, make sure you keep the chocolate out of the dog's reach, because even if you know it's not good for them, sometimes they manage to get into it, and you don't want to spend your romantic evening at the vet ER.
No, you don't. And I know our local bakery does pet cupcakes, and I'm sure they have Valentine's Day versions coming out. So check out your local stores. See what they have.
All right, let's hear your story, Chris.
Yeah, it has to do with love, because I love this animal. And there's some really great news coming out of China, where the IUC has moved giant pandas from being considered endangered to vulnerable, which is huge news for conservation efforts. So those who may not be aware, the slider they use starts with extinct and then goes to, let's see if I can remember, extinct in the wild, and then critically endangered, and then endangered, then vulnerable, near threatened, and least concern. So going from endangered to vulnerable has been quite the journey for the giant panda. According to data, they estimate there are 500 to 1,000 mature individuals in the wild, which moves it up to vulnerable. And the population for the first time in a long time is trending upwards in the wild.
Great.
Pandas are notorious for being terrible at reproducing, whether they're in the wild or in captivity.
Why? Does it say why?
It doesn't say why. They're just, it's one of those things where nature is interesting because they create imperfect animals all the time. I know on the show I've ranted about how koalas are just absolute freaks and shouldn't exist. Their brains are so smooth. They're, it's just how did this thing survive? Pandas are kind of right up there. They're not really threatened by predators in the wild, so they live this life of comfort. And I suppose they spend most of their time eating bamboo. Readily available, low on caloric intake, so they have to eat a lot of it. They probably spend most of their time eating and sleeping. Yeah, and not enough time.
And being cute.
And being cute.
Adorable.
Not enough time focusing on the babies. But I just think, pandas are awesome. I believe wholeheartedly in wildlife conservation. And I just thought some positive news coming into this Valentine's Day would be appreciated by everybody. So support your wildlife conservation efforts. Go to your if you have a zoo nearby that supports wildlife conservation near here, we have the Bronx Zoo, which has incredible programs to help animals that are both endangered and vulnerable find refuge in a safe place, as well as take some of their proceeds and pump them back into direct conservation efforts. So avoid those for-profit zoos. Find the ones that do good work. I really don't think there's many for-profit zoos left. They fell out of favor a while ago. And the ones that were for-profit have since pivoted to, make sure that their PR is good. So whether it's motivated by their love of animals or their bottom line, it is good to see some results because that's what we're all chasing. So congrats to the panda.
Yay, pandas.
You're vulnerable like Chris on Valentine's Day.
Beyond the Leash, exploring the untold stories of pet passion and professionalism.
All right. As part of our Valentine's Day show, it is my honor to welcome Dr. Monique Udell. She's a human-animal bond scientist and associate professor at Oregon State University, where she directs the Human-Animal Interaction Lab. Now, her research focuses on how dogs form social bonds with humans, how those relationships develop over time, and how dogs learn to navigate human environments like shelters, homes, and their working roles. Dr. Udell is widely recognized for her work on dog cognition, attachment, and emotional connections, challenging long-held assumptions about how dogs think and why they bond so strongly with people. Her research has also been featured in major scientific journals and mainstream media, helping to bridge the gap between laboratory science and everyday life with dogs. As I mentioned, with Valentine's Day approaching, Dr. Udell joins the podcast to explore what science can tell us about love, attachment, and why dogs often become our most loyal and emotionally our most loyal and I can't read that word. Attuned. Sorry. You want me to read that last part, Ron, again? Okay. And as Valentine's Day approaches, Dr. Udell joins the Pet Sad Life podcast to explore what science can tell us about how attachment and why dogs are becoming the most loyal companions. Welcome, Dr. Udell.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you. Let's kick it off by asking you this question. When people say they love their dogs and they feel so deeply bonded to them, what is science actually telling us about those relationships?
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. So there's been a lot of research asking this question. And with humans, we can often ask them directly, how do you feel about your dog? What does this relationship look like? What are you willing to do for your dog? What level of care do you provide? And from answers to those sorts of questions, we can sort of get at the kind of relationship that people perceive themselves having with their dogs and how they feel about them. And we are seeing this increasing trend towards people describing their relationship with their dog as one of a loving companionship, but also sometimes parenthood. We're seeing that increase as well, where people believe their dogs are their children, or the pets in the home are like their children, or definitely family members. And while there's probably some people all along that have felt that way, we're seeing that trend increase, the number of people who feel that way about their pets. But of course, the individual relationships are individual and they're diverse. So there's all sorts of kind of relationships between people and animals we can study.
Yeah, and that sort of bond doesn't happen automatically, even though sometimes it feels like it does. But, dogs, they form these relationships through experience. So what are some of the factors that most strongly shape a dog's attachment to a specific person?
Yeah, so there's the human attachment to the dog, and then the dog's attachment to the human. And sometimes those things coincide, and sometimes they don't match up as well. And so we have to ask those questions of the dog too. So when we're thinking about from the dog's perspective, what are the kinds of things that help solidify the bond? Really, it falls into sort of two categories of behavior. One where we call sort of responsiveness and warmth, and one where we call high expectation. And it's very similar in the human parenting literature. And the idea is that if we attend to our dog's needs, if we understand their needs, we're sensitive to when they're afraid or when they're hungry or when they're hurt, and we respond appropriately and we help, that helps provide a sense of security and underlying support. At the same time, when we have high expectations, when we give our dogs opportunities for enrichment, to make choice, to explore their environment independently, that helps them build resilience and confidence. And those things also help solidify a trusting relationship between the person and the animal, because that person is the individual who facilitates these feelings of security and confidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And speaking of feelings, a lot of dog parents will say that their dog is their true soulmate. And so I'd be curious to know what the science says about why we sometimes feel more emotionally connected to our dogs than maybe to other family members.
Yeah, that's a great question too. Again, it kind of boils down to this idea that relationships are very individual. And we've known for a long time in human history, humans have had the capacity to form bonds not only with each other, but with other animals. They feel this bond towards them. They can use them also as a support system or a source of security. We see children forming especially strong bonds with animals. So children that are raised around animals in their home, their bond to the animals might be a little different than the parents in the household or the adults in the household who are providing the caregiving. Instead, the child's bond to the animal sometimes starts off more as like a sibling or a friend or a security relationship of its own. And so one of the things that we've seen in research is that children who do struggle sometimes to form relationships with people for whatever reason, and that could be because of difficult circumstances, or it may be lack of availability of certain people to bond to, or it could just be, struggle reading human social cues or something like that. Those children often form incredibly strong bonds to the animal in the household. And the younger the children are, usually the stronger they report their bonds being. And so while those bonds can maintain, I think if you develop that foundation for this strong relationship, especially early in life, it can really set the stage for meaningful relationships later in life. These are animals that are there for us. They can, be by our side, and we can confide in them. And people do. They look to them, and they seek that comfort and trust. So yeah, I truly believe that people can be very bonded to their pets.
We believe it too here on the PAL podcast. But Dr. Udell, I wanted to ask about the environment, specifically like the environment that a dog is being raised in and how that could impact the bond. I imagine that being in a shelter situation would dramatically change the experience as compared to a pet being in a warm, cozy home.
Yeah, it depends a lot on the environment and the experience. One of the incredible things of working with shelters sort of around the country is that these are people who have such compassion for animals. And I think that the quality of shelters and the quality of interaction in these environments is increasing because they're filled with people who care so much and are doing their best. So I definitely believe that environment matters. Shelters still pose other challenges, right? It's a change in environment, which is stressful and hard. It can be loud. It can, be sort of limited in the amount of social interaction because as many people as there are out there who really love these animals, there's only so much time to go around. So I think what we know is that dogs, especially animals, tend to do really well when they have people who are engaging socially with them in a positive way. They do well if they have freedom of movement and interaction and enrichment. And so certainly if we can have more animals in homes as opposed to shelter environments, they're going to have these ample opportunities for these sorts of interactions. But we see that dogs are also incredibly resilient. So dogs that we see go into shelters, they have no trouble forming bonds. If they were socialized early in life and they've been able to bond to people before, they have no problem forming bonds to new people in most cases. And so even, a senior dog in a shelter could be really successful in a home and form really strong new bonds in a home. And so part of it is just making sure that while the dogs are in the shelter, if they can have the best positive experiences or they can go for fosters and continue to experience the kind of lifestyle and environment that we're hoping they move back into one day. That does a lot to support that transition and growth in the future.
Yeah, and along those lines, it makes me think about some of the dogs that I have adopted from shelters. My two recent dogs that were adopted as young puppies, but the one prior to that was Buck, and he was adopted when he was about 4 or 5 months old, and he had already been in at least one home prior to coming to the shelter. And, without knowing, having much knowledge about what that experience was like, what I noticed that was different about Buck than the other two dogs was that he formed an incredibly strong attachment to me to the point of ultimately developing separation anxiety. And I'm just curious to know how at a young age a dog reacts to being in multiple homes and then ultimately finding his forever home. Does that impact how they bond with humans?
Yeah, It depends. It depends on the quality of the interactions in each of those locations. It depends on the timing of those transitions. So there's something to be said for stability, for sure. And especially during early development and puppyhood, when the brain's developing and these, the information about, who are my social companions? Can I rely on a person for trust or security? Those things are sensitive in that period. It's actually called a sensitive period of social development. And so we need more information there, is the truth. I mean, we have some research in that area, but one of the things that we're trying to look at in our lab is exactly that, like how just changing across households potentially impact the bond. What we know from research that exists, though, is that if there's opportunities to form secure attachments that are really sort of stabilized and secure, that secure attachment has the potential to increase future secure attachments and the positive bond formation in new environments. So it's not that if we have an animal changing across homes that they're necessarily going to struggle with forming attachment, but the timing and the quality of those prior interactions are going to matter, just like they do in humans, right? If we develop this strong base of trust, it's easier to trust people in the future. If we've had kind of rough interactions before, a lot of instability, then it might be hard to trust that in the future. And so it can be overcome, but it definitely sets the stage for how challenging it might be and what kinds of environments might be most supportive in those sorts of cases.
Yeah, that's great stuff. And we are getting close to time, but I wanted to squeeze in this question because we are fast approaching Valentine's Day. So I was wondering if there's anything our pet parents at home who are listening, if there's anything they can do today to start strengthening the bond between them and their dog.
Yeah, so 2 quick tips. One, I would say pay attention. Watch what your dog does. Watch what it likes to do when you're not making the choices. Offer a variety of treats and see what they choose. This is part of that warmth and responsiveness and taking their perspective and considering their their unique dog perspective. The second thing that I would recommend doing, a little exercise, is synchronize your behavior with your dog. So play sort of copycat. Synchronization is the glue of a lot of social bonds, and there's actually research suggesting that dogs prefer people who follow them around from place to place for a few minutes. So give your dog some opportunity to lead, whether that's on a walk, let them sniff what they want to, take your time, let the dog guide the walk, or even just around your home. If they want to play, play. If they want to sit down and rest next to them. And just doing those two things, that's kind of giving them some of that choice and control, which is that high expectation sort of behavior. Paying attention gives that warmth and compassion. And that's a good first step to sort of practicing the skills that help strengthen the bond.
Those are excellent tips. Well, Dr. Udell, your work is fascinating. Where can we follow you or learn more about what you're working on?
Yeah, so our website is thehumananimalbond.com. That's a great place to kind of find all of our information, including ways to help and participate.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us and for all the great work you do to help increase the bond between our pets and people.
Yeah, thanks so much for doing this and for having me.
You know, Kristen, one of the things she brought up was like the children in a household forming a different kind of bond with the animals. And I think she put into words this feeling I've had that I didn't even realize I had. It's like this, like the cats I grew up with always feel like the cat, like other cats just get compared to this cat. And I just really appreciated that I'm not the only one and that it's a thing.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I remember as a child, my pets always felt kind of like siblings. You know, that's I would tell my secrets to my pet, and there are things that I wouldn't, tell other people that I would share with my pet. So
you gotta be careful around some cats, though. They'll blab it out. These cats, they can't be trusted with your secrets. They'll post it all over the internet.
Well, February is Pet Dental Health Month, so we have the perfect guest joining me today. Dr. Naomi Hoyer is a veterinary dentist, and her work focuses on how clear, effective communication about dental health can change our behavior as pet parents and dramatically improve long-term outcomes for dogs and cats. Through her research and clinical experience, Dr. Hoyer has shown that when we truly understand oral disease, what it looks like, how it progresses, and why it matters, we are far more likely to prioritize preventative care. So rather than treating dental health as an isolated issue, Dr. Hoyer is going to help us understand its connection to overall well-being. Did I do okay?
You did great.
Okay, great.
That was a lot of big words.
It was. Okay, well, I appreciate you joining us. Thanks for being here on the podcast.
Yeah.
So this is a very important topic.
Yeah.
So let's just kick it off with, what are pet parents most commonly misunderstanding about dental disease?
I think the most common thing that we misunderstand in our dog and cat patients is the fact that we think that they are going to let us know when they have dental disease, and so often they just don't.
Right.
So the disease can be really serious before you see any symptoms at home.
Right. So how does better communication at the veterinary practice change the way we think about that?
So I think two things. One, I think the pet parent at home learning to be an advocate for their own pet. So have your veterinarian show you what we're looking for. So red bleeding gums, areas of gum disease, so gingival recession where gum is pulling away from the tooth.
Right.
So that you can be noticing those things, you can be bringing them the attention to of your veterinarian, and then you guys can have a conversation about how do we stop this, and more importantly, what can I do at home to prevent it?
Right, because it's not just bad breath that you're looking for,
no,
right?
It's really not. The gums, so just like in us, if we stopped brushing or flossing, our dentist would be really mad at us. Just like that with dogs. We need to have things that we're doing at home to prevent periodontal disease.
Right. You know what really helped me? We had our dog Tulips, her teeth cleaned last year, and when I picked her up, our vet provided us with a before and after photo.
So helpful.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was...
I am a huge advocate of before and after pictures, and something when I'm here at a conference like this teaching veterinarians, that's one of the big things I say is your pet parents want to know what happened.
We do.
Give them a before and after picture.
We do. Even if we know it's important, it's really helpful to see the difference.
Well, because it's really hard to see, especially in the very far back of your pet's mouth while they're awake.
Right.
So we really, really want to know what it looks like while they're anesthetized.
So, why do you think dental health is sometimes thought of as like optional by pet parents?
I think, unfortunately, it's just an area, again, because dogs and cats often don't show us any clinical signs, it's easy to overlook. Like, my dog seems fine, he's eating, he's drinking, he's chewing, my cat is doing all their normal behaviors, so it's easy to miss those really subtle little things that help us indicate that they're struggling with a disease.
Okay, and I want to talk about, so let's talk about the problems that dental health, poor dental health can ultimately lead to.
Yeah. I mean, worst case scenario, dental disease can just be chronic inflammation. So your body is trying to fight that chronic inflammation. And so we know there's effects on organs outside of the body. Kidneys, heart, liver are all part of the body that is removing inflammatory mediators. And so if we're not keeping our mouth healthy, that can have effects. I think that it also affects aging. So because dental disease gets worse in general as patients age. And so I can't even tell you how many times I've had a client where we have fixed some dental disease in a dog where they thought, oh, he's just slowing down, he's just not as active because he's older. We made the dental disease go away, and the owners are like, it's a new dog.
Wow.
It's a new dog. I didn't even appreciate how much the pain was affecting him.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you're a veterinary dentist.
I am.
But my veterinarian is not a veterinary dentist, so to speak.
Right.
But she performed the dental cleaning. So what is the difference between what you do and what another primary care?
Yeah. I think it is a great distinction to understand, and so important, because your family veterinarian should be the place where you're getting most of the dentistry done for your patient. So good comprehensive cleanings, full mouth x-rays, screenings for disease, all should be happening regularly, sometimes as frequently as every year, depending on your pet, at your family veterinarian. And then I get involved with cases with maybe the dog had a fractured tooth and needed a root canal. Or maybe your primary veterinarian discovered that your dog had an oral tumor. Or maybe your cat needs all their teeth out because of a disease. And so I kind of am there to help support the family veterinarians when it's something that maybe they aren't able to take on. So that's really my role.
That makes sense. So you've emphasized preventative care over waiting for a crisis.
Yeah.
What does a realistic preventative dental plan look like for the average pet owner? Let's talk dogs and cats.
Yeah, so I would say the thing that I love to say to remind people how important it is that brushing is really best. So if we are looking at trying to prevent periodontal disease, which is red bleeding gums, we want to prevent buildup of plaque, just like us. And so brushing, teaching your dog or cat actually to have their teeth brushed, best thing. And then the next best thing to that is some kind of home care that is going to remove plaque. So dental treats and chews, dental diets, all of those can be really, really important components of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are the additives, and not asking you to, talk about your favorite products or your least favorite, but I know there's some enzyme products that you add to the water.
Yeah, I would say there's a great website called the vohc.org, Veterinary Oral Health Council. So that is a website where there have been products that have actually been tested to show that they help. Because there are a lot of products, and I think the companies mean really well, but we want to actually make sure there's some data behind those products. I think the water additives, gels, in general, those are not going to be as helpful as physically removing plaque.
Right.
But let's say you have a patient like a cat who's not going to let you brush their teeth.
Right.
Or maybe a little dog. I love Chihuahuas. They're absolutely my favorite breed in the whole world, but I don't know a lot of dog owners with Chihuahuas who can brush their teeth effectively. So we want to have something else. We want to have another option. So then a combination of diets and then things like the enzymatic products can be really good.
Okay, fantastic. So we will make sure to put the link to that site for our pet parents so they can go check it out. Yeah. And thank you so much for being here. It was great timing that we could talk to you during February Dental Health Month.
Every month should be Dental Health Month.
That's true. That's a good point to make too. every day is Dental Health Day for both your dog and yourself. So thank you, Dr.
For sure.
Royer.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, it was really great that we got to snag Dr. Royer while we were at VMX to talk about pet dental health, because she's like one of the very few boarded veterinary dentists. So pretty cool to get to talk to her and to learn more about not only Pet Dental Health Month, but what a veterinary dentist does, as opposed to what your primary care veterinarian would do in terms of like a maintenance teeth cleaning.
Yeah, real shame that I wasn't there for it, but the interview was much more professional without me. So we're going to chalk that one up to a win.
The product of the week.
It is time for the product of the week, Valentine's edition. And, we're still, Kristen, we're still here in, Pet Dental Health Awareness Month. We're talking about teeth. We're talking about your pet's teeth.
That's right.
And we've been talking the chompers. Yeah, and we've been talking a lot of dog and cat because it's sort of a lesser known variable in their health. But anyone who may own a small animal, the guinea pig, hamsters, gerbils of the world, should know that their dental health is much more important. They have teeth that will keep on growing and growing and growing until it becomes a danger to themselves and those who handle them. So the upkeep for small animals is much more important. And the good news is a natural diet would go ahead and take care of most of those issues. It's just the erosion of the teeth from chewing. But when you're feeding your small animal the pellets, it's not going to do the trick. So there's this great little product from Oxbow that is, it couldn't be simpler. They're sticks. It's a bundle of sticks, people. And the great thing is you're like, oh man, can't I just go outside and pick up sticks? Yeah. Absolutely. These
But
sticks,
why pick them up when you can pay for them?
when you can pay for them, and it's only like $4. Okay, this is a $4 product, and the thing is with the sticks, you want it to be the right size and you want it to be the right texture. So this is apple wood, which is apparently perfect for their teeth, and it's just a bundle of sticks, and you just throw one in their cage and let them chew on it, and there's your maintenance for small animals. It does wonders for cleaning the teeth and helping them stay in the proper shape and the proper size. So if you are looking for a solution that is not artificial, there's a lot of artificial products out there, a lot of things that you could sort of set up in the cage for them to chew on, something that is just a little bit more in line with their natural process. Oxbow has your sticks covered, or if you have a toddler, send them out and tell them to find small little sticks for the animal to chew on. That could be their chore.
Good idea. All right. That's a good one. My product, well, first let me say the smart thing to do this month, as you mentioned, February Dental Health Month, is to go to that website, VOHC, that we've mentioned on the last couple shows, vohc.org, and choose a vet-approved dental product for your dog or cat. But the fun thing to do is what I did, and I ordered Tulip. Okay, well, let me back up. I'm a fan of Stranger Things. Are you, Chris? Have you watched the series?
Oh yeah. Oh boy, don't get me started.
Oh yeah. Okay. So if you're a fan, you're going to love this. Max Bone has dropped a Stranger Things themed collection of pet apparel and toys just in time for Valentine's Day. So I ordered Tulip the Demogorgon plush toy and the Hellfire Club t-shirt, which she's going to totally rock. It's adorable. Like, I was so excited when I found this yesterday. So it's in the mail. I can't wait to show it to you. I looked on their website. I didn't see other Stranger Things themed gear or toys, but it says they have a whole collection. So, jump on their website, maxbone.com, and check it out. And be careful. You may want to buy the whole upside down if you find more products. But I just thought that was so much fun. And it's kind of a surprise for Paul, too, because he loves that show.
Yeah, we binged it like crazy. I think we've watched the entire series like 3 times now.
I don't get when people rewatch stuff. Like, I watch it once and I don't want to watch it again.
I'm right there with you. Hope loves rewatching stuff, and I don't have the willpower to fight. Yeah, I don't. So
a lot of people do.
Yeah, you do get some extra detail, but some of those episodes are really long. I mean, the last episode was feature length. It was like 2.5 hours long, and I was looking at my watch. I'm like, they got to put an intermission in here. I guess I could just pause it.
Popcorn.
But yeah, they need to tell me it's halftime. They need to get on the screen and say it's halftime. Go get a drink of water, go use the bathroom, stretch, decompress, and come back to it. But hey, some people love that long format stuff.
Q&As.
All right, Kristen, it's time for our favorite part of the show. That's right. We're going to answer 2 questions from our lovely audience. And I know what you're thinking. How do I get my question answered by Chris and Kristen? Well, couldn't be simpler. You're going to head on over to the website, petsaddlife.org/podcast. Scroll on down to the bottom of that page, and you'll see a form to submit your question. Or if you're feeling as brave as a husband who's waited to the last minute to purchase that Valentine's Day gift, you could record a voice memo, and your question may be played live on our show. So, without further ado, Kristen, our first question comes from Alex in Boulder, Colorado. Thank you, Alex, for your question. And I just glanced at it, Kristen. I glanced at the question. I know I'm clinically underprepared. So I figured we'd bring in a ringer. So we're going to welcome back in Dr. Udell to answer this question. Dr. Udell, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
Are you ready for Alex's question?
I hope so.
Okay, here we go. So Alex asks, I love my dog, but sometimes I feel like we're not really connected the way other people describe. Are there science-backed ways to deepen my bond with my dog if it doesn't come naturally?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, one of the things that might be worth considering is whether your dog is showing you love or showing preference for ways of expressing that relationship that may be different from what we sort of expect as a society. So we often assume that dogs show their love by being really snuggly and physically close and seeking out that sort of affection or attention. And that's not always true. So sometimes dogs really enjoy going for walks with their people or playing ball or playing with toys. And they may not be especially cuddly, or they may only be seeking that close contact at certain times. And so one of the things that you could potentially do is pay attention to what your dog is sort of asking for. What kind of interactions are they initiating? When are they initiating those interactions? And try to reciprocate and sort of that scale. You can also offer up other things or other activities that you think your dog may especially like as opportunities to bond. So it's kind of, even in human relationships are stronger when we also pay attention to what the other person's interests and needs are. And by paying more attention to that, it might give your dog the space to form a connection with you in ways that they feel comfortable. And in some cases, that also means they feel more comfortable with some of those other behaviors that we maybe more traditionally associate with bonds from the human perspective. So maybe give that a try and see how it goes.
That is a great answer, Dr. Udell. Usually Chris and I answer these questions, and I'm so glad you were available to answer this, because otherwise I would have had to, and you did a much better job than I would have.
Thanks. I will.
Chris, I have a question for you from Ryan
Okay.
in San Mateo, California. Ryan says, I keep a large aquarium and I feel calm just watching my fish swim. Do fish actually recognize or respond to their owners in any meaningful way, or is the connection just one-sided?
That is a great question. And I went down the rabbit hole. I went down the fish hole, the eel burrow. I don't know. Fish have holes, right? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
It's there's been a lot of really interesting research into this, and the general consensus is that many fish can recognize their owners and distinguish between human faces. So the study I read looked at archer fish, which I'm not really sure what archer fish are. But they were trained to distinguish human faces from up to 44 new unfamiliar faces, indicating they can learn to recognize specific complex patterns like human faces. I think fish in general are a lot smarter than we give them credit for. I know there's that whole idea of goldfish memory and them forgetting everything every few seconds, but fish are a diverse creature. There's so many different kinds, and the variety is insane. So there are some fish that do recognize what's happening outside of their tank. In fact, I saw a TikTok recently of somebody watching King Kong Skull Island, great film. And they're sitting there watching, and the camera's on the TV, and then it pans over to their fish tank, and all the fish are pointed, glued to the TV, just looking at Big Monkey. So yeah, I would say, are you going to get the type of recognition from a fish that you would from a dog or a cat? No. Come on. Let's be realistic.
Lower your expectations.
Do fish at least recognize the hand that feeds? Yes, They're going to see you and understand this is the person who comes and delivers the food, and they're friendly and they take care of us, and that's our person. And studies show that there are a wide variety of fish who are capable of at least that. But if you are looking to fill a certain type of void that requires a little more recognition, you may want something small and furry, is what I'll say. But you'd be surprised. There's all sorts of research out there. Here's a pro tip. Here's something that I do on this podcast, and I'm going to tip my hand a little bit to all of our viewers. If you go to Google and you ask your question, you're going to get that stupid little AI readout, right? Ignore that. Go on to Google Scholar. There's a tab there all the way at the bottom, and you could actually search through scientific journals, and you could ask your question and see if actual scientists have done a study. And sometimes these things are tough to read through, but a lot of times just the thesis statement at the beginning will give you the general idea, which is all you need as a layman. So a little pro tip for where does this all come from? Does Chris really know all this stuff? Absolutely not.
But don't ask Google Scholar. You can ask us.
Exactly. Yeah. I will have funny little
Google
quips.
Scholar.
I'll have funny little quips. Google can't be funny like me.
That's true.
That's true. And if Google ever does become as funny as I am, then I'm out of a job and you'll see me panhandling on the street. But hey, Kristen, that's the end of our show, our little Valentine's Day show. So for everybody celebrating, whether it's a Valentine's Day, a Galentine's Day, or if you're going to sit in a long chair with a 12-pack and the TV on and just mull it over and think about where life went wrong, that's fine. These are all valid Valentine's Day celebrations. So from our lovely couple here on the podcast to yours, happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, and I'll leave you with this interesting twist on the demographic spending of pet gifts for Valentine's Day. Single people are 30% more likely to buy Valentine's gifts for pets than people in romantic relations are. So why is that? I guess because pets are emotional anchors, somewhat.
I agree. You do the math, people. 30%.
Pets Add Life, your guide to the latest in pet trends, products, and the joy of the human-animal bond, with Kristen Levine and Chris Bonifati, powered by the American Pet Products Association and Dog TV.
Hey guys, I'm Kristen Levine, your host of the new show, The Experts. This is where I bring to you 3 pet experts to answer your burning questions about your furry friend. So we can't do the show without your questions, so here's what you do. Take out your phone, videotape yourself horizontally asking your question about your pet, and send it to dogtv.com/experts, and we might just feature you on the next episode. So what are you waiting for?
So, what exactly is Pets Add Life, you're asking? It's a weekly podcast with 2 hosts sharing 2 pet stories, interviewing 2 amazing guests, recommending 2 awesome products, and answering 2 questions from the audience. And all this is produced by 2 major pet brands. I guess you can say is too good to be true. You're right. Check out Pets Add Life with new episodes every Tuesday.
If you encounter a snake, don't be a Chris. Just walk the other way.
Pets Add Life, with Kristen Levine and Chris Bonifati, powered by the American Pet Products Association and Dog TV.
Guess what, suckers? We got a special episode for you. A big round of applause for all the winners here today. Woo!
Congratulations, Scott! We are going to show you some of our best, funniest, smartest, greatest guests. Oh, sorry, Chris.
Well, you go ahead. You're getting right to what I was
so excited. I know.
Beyond the Leash, exploring the untold stories of pet passion and professionalism.
Yeah, go to the vet. Don't ask us.
Oh, this is our dog-shaped cat, Birdie.
Wow. Is Chris as handsome as he sounds? Oh my gosh. It's Pumbaa!
The product of the week.
Because we're having so much fun together. Hopefully some bloopers. I don't know. I think bloopers might be in there.
Bloopers? We don't make mistakes. We don't make mistakes. There's going to be no bloopers. If you encounter a snake, don't be a Chris. Just walk the other way. Why risk it? People with big feelings and dogs with big feelings. I think you get applied words to so many situations that I've seen.
To allow your dog to just kind of think that you're a bit more fun than you are boring.
Get it? Tail end.
Yes.
Q&As.
He says sometimes he wants to be a puppy again.
Don't we all?
He was always.
Next time she comes on the show, she's going to be like, yeah, so I was training dragons in inner China.
You never know.
You never know. You really don't.
Let me tell you, my life is full of surprises, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Kristen and Chris present Story Time.
Your step count must have been ridiculous. And I'm over here. There's some days where I rack up like work from home days, and I'm racking up like 45 steps. So I don't think I'm any further away. So we already have the giggles. I'm sure that the energy's unhinged.
Yeah,
the energy's
it is.
unhinged.
Off the charts.
I'm gonna be an old man doing Pets Ad Life. So prepare yourself. But
Mwah, chef's kiss.
Listen to Pets Ad Life with Kristen Levine and Chris Bonifati every Tuesday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Got questions? The experts have answers.
every Friday, a brand new episode of The Experts drops, featuring the biggest names in pet care.
From behavior to health, training to nutrition, our panel of top veterinarians, trainers, and technicians tackles it all.
Real questions from real pet parents and real answers from the best in the business.
The Experts, every Friday, only on Unleashed by Dog TV.
Watch and learn, your pet will thank you.
My human leaves, and I'm on my own. I'm just a pup, not fully grown. I hear that fun, familiar tune. It's Dog TV, my fun starts soon. I spend my day with Dog TV. Wag my tail and feel happy. I can relax and live carefree with all my friends on Dog TV. I may be a dog, but I've got good taste. Please turn it on.